So as we gear up for the coming week in games, today I want to take a bit of time to discuss the recent leaks for XDefiant and the further content coming in the future as of a more recent update. As we go along, drop your thoughts, drop a like down below, and make sure to subscribe for more XDefiant and more FPS coverage like Black Ops 6, Delta Force, and more. I'd love to have in the community as we chase down 600,000 subscribers. Finally, only if you'd like to, you can support the channel a little further by using code Espresso in the in-game shop. We're on battle passes in XDefiant, but absolutely no sweat if not. Again, the option's just there. Anyways, let's get into what you can look forward to here in the coming weeks to months within XDefiant. Now, the information discussed today comes from our resident leaker, TX Limited. He's revealed quite a bit since XDefiant has launched, with a great track record behind the stuff he has leaked. So while things in development are all sort of like moving targets, things are subject to change, it's at least worth hearing out what we have on offer today. Give him some love, links down below if you guys want to follow along with his updates as they happen, but we're going to be discussing a bit of the coming weaponry, some new features, and some future factions as we know about in this one as of the most recent update that not only changed things on the front-facing side, but also added some more clues in the back end that aren't quite public just yet. So let's start out with what I think is the most important. Weaponry. Weaponry, of course, is the one constant across any mode, map, whatever the case that you're going to interact with. I mean, it is an FPS after all, but with Season 1, we saw the introduction of the LVOAC, L115, and sawed-off shotgun. As it stands right now, there's not any sort of plan for a mid-season weaponry update. All the weapons are available currently in the Battle Pass and can be unlocked either as quickly or as slowly as you'd like. It's entirely up to you the pace at which you burn through that Battle Pass, but unlike COD or any other larger shooters following this sort of live service update model right now, we don't have anything announced that is going to be dropping between now and Season 2. Nothing in season, which, pending no delays, that would be from now until September 24th. So a long while out and still just before that launch of Black Ops 6 in the grand scheme of things. So a lot of open space right now leading to an update and then maybe something that shifts a lot of people's focus away from XDefiant for a little bit with the launch of another game. But what's left that we know of in that case? Well, the immediate future looks to hold the following, though listed in no particular order: the PP-19, the SPAS, 2 LMGs, no names associated with that, though one appears to be the L86, the SASG, the M1A, the FAMAS, and the SRSA. Now, based off of prior leaks, it appears that Season 2 will focus on the weapons of the PP-19, the SPAS, and an LMG of some kind. Maybe it's that unnamed LMG, perhaps the L86, but that would be in line with what we saw with Season 1 thus far, and that sort of already marketed, already confirmed, 3 weapons a season, 3 maps per season, 1 per month sort of basis when it comes to content rollout that's already been detailed and was detailed as of last year, like last summertime, before the sort of initial delay of XDefiant and what we saw at that point. So we've known that as the sort of basis for the rollout of the game's content post-launch. So that would leave things like the SASG rifle, the M1A, the FAMAS, the SRSA, and another LMG, all likely to be Season 3 and 4 weapons, which isn't half bad. A lot of usable weapons, I think, with likely more coming in the future to fill out that. So it's not that it's going to be just those same primary categories, but they are filling out. It's also mentioned that there are 2 additional weapons that will likely appear in the game files in the future, probably referenced as new items currently, but with no identifying features to them. So that fills out the list of coming Season 3 and 4, and then a little further even beyond that. So looking forward to seeing what those weapons debut as in the future. None of them really, to me at least, seem like there are any duds, so happy to take any of those at any point. Next, the one thing that has been strangely bugged since the launch of Season 1 might actually be for some reason based off of some new leaks here. A reason that it's being replaced with a superior or more in-depth system in the near future. That being the career stats. As we've touched on before, the existing career stats really only gave a few bits of detail, and none of them were actually the entirety of your career as the landing page suggested, but rather your last 10 matches. From that standpoint, it was kind of a hidden footnote or something that was lesser detailed. It wasn't like front and center, hey, this is your last 10 matches at the top. But while the 4 details were accurate to the last 10, the overall time listed for factions in the playtime really never ended up being accurate in any capacity, neither in the 10 games capacity or a lifetime capacity. It was some sort of random input in between that I've never really figured out. I don't know if anybody else has, but anyways, since Season 1, to add on top of all that, statistics haven't been tracking at all publicly. I'm assuming that on the back end, it's still relatively unaffected, but at least on the landing page, it doesn't do you anything in regards to the updated stats. For me, it's still what I had the last game before Season 1 actually kicked off. But that could be because, well, with the last few updates, the game has had progressive builds in rapid succession that points towards a more detailed career stats feature seemingly being ready to almost launch at this point. So that could be on the way in perhaps the next few weeks. According to TX Limited, we're going to likely see the most recent build of the game showing off weapon stats, modes, for example, TDM stats, high fives received, kills and death totals, total score, time alive, and things alike. Now, I'm a stats guy, so I kind of love this stuff, even if grand scheme of things, it's not really relatively important, but it is cool to see this kind of stuff and in much more in-depth perspectives, I think. Weapon stats, that has the potential to either both refer to weapon stats in the creator class and perhaps weapon detailing on what you've performed with in the past. Both of those have been mentioned by Mark Rubin as something that looks to be coming, so which this specific endpoint in the files refers to, that could be a coin toss, honestly. Mode-specific stats would always be cool to see, I think. I'm quite surprised but happy to see some things like the whimsical high fives received in the end game being tracked, kind of seeing your career totals on that. And then, of course, you have your standard things that you'd almost expect of kills, deaths, score. Time alive is an interesting one that will be added to the list, apparently, which, when you take a look at, like, maybe just total time played, I don't know if it's almost an irrelevant stat at that point, but cool to have, again, more in-depth stuff. Now, I'd be kind of surprised if all of this ends up coming at one specific time. Like, a whole rework of that would be somewhat surprising, given this would indicate so much more depth to the stat tracking system than what we had at launch. But I mean, that also could happen. It seems like they have a lot of stuff progressing on the back end that points towards that, but wouldn't be surprised if Mark Rubin touches on this in the coming weeks. But again, as with so much of what we've discussed since the game has launched, it's just an educated guess based on what we see in the back end and a sort of progressive build. It seems like it's close to ready to go for launch, but there's zero, I repeat, zero historical precedent or context that can give us any clue as to what we'd be able to expect, as opposed to like COD, Battlefield, any established game franchise having these sort of set patterns on when things roll out for 10, 15, 20 years at a time now. And finally, the last thing I want to touch on is a bit of an updated version of the future factions that appear to be coming to XDefiant in the future at some point. Now, some of these will be year 1, some will be all the way out to year 2 and 3, it seems like, but in the game files, there's reference of Assassin's Creed Valhalla, Assassin's Creed Odyssey, Far Cry New Dawn, Far Cry 3 Blood Dragon, The Crew, Ghost Recon Breakpoint, Rabbids, and Just Dance, which is a really weird one, I think, here, but based off of previous leaks, some of those crazier things don't appear to be coming until much later down the line, if they come at all. Season 2 looking like it's going to be the Highwaymen theme from Far Cry. Season 3 apparently going to be Assassin's Creed, with those weapons including a DMR and an M1A and the FAMAS along that. Season 4 apparently going to be Ghost Recon, and Season 5 potentially kicking off year 2 could be Rabbids. So for right now, again, there's a lot of uncertainty in regards to what the deep future holds, but there has been some stuff that points towards a bit more clarity for the coming months and beyond in XDefiant. So just wanted to fill you guys in here a little bit as we gear up for, again, another busy week upcoming for some FPS content here on the channel. Looking forward to keeping you up to date with all that kind of stuff, but for now, that's going to wrap it up. So let me know your thoughts down below. Anything out of this that you find particularly interesting. Looking forward to the new in-depth career stats that could be coming. Any weapons in particular you're looking forward to. Whatever the case, drop your thoughts down below. If you enjoyed the video, you found it at all insightful, do me a favor and drop a like on it. And make sure to subscribe for more XDefiant and other FPS coverage. I'd love to have in the community. Also, if you want to, you can use code Espresso in the in-game shop, but entirely up to you. For now, though, thanks so much for watching. My name is Espresso. I'll see you later. Take care and peace.